recordings. I will even put them online. But I also wanted to say, because it's a little bit, didactic, my cultivating emotional balance teaching, which I actually taught at La Casa de Maria for many years, but it kind of evolved a little bit since then. Um, if you have questions in the end or comments, because I think it's really good if we work together to understand it. So please feel free to ask questions or write, in the chat box, or just unmute yourself, or whatever you like to do. Yeah. Because it's a work in progress, this cultivating emotional balance, especially in this time, isn't it?
Yep.
I find it very, very trying to stay emotionally balanced. Hi, Lawrence, alias Antonia. Yeah. All right. So good evening. Sorry I wasn't here last week. And also I wanted to say I will not be here next week, but Harrison will be here, because I'm going up to Big Sur. There is a monastery, a Camaldolese monastery, and I will kind of hide out in a cottage. Once a day I get food and meditate and try to finish my book. But Harrison is really great. I think you met him a few weeks ago when I wasn't able to be here. So he's great. He is a student of Jinsen Yang and also of Dan Brown, and he spent a lot of time in Burmese monasteries. Many years. He would go like half of the year to Burma and stay there. So he's really a very great person, and he's also actually one of the directors of our school program. Actually, Harrison is basically organizing the whole thing. So he's a fantastic person who basically does his day job, which he still has with the city, just to support his teaching in schools. So he's quite amazing. So you will meet him. So actually, what I wanted to talk about today, which may not be the most not the most sexy subject, but I will talk about it anyhow, is concentration. Because concentration is one of those difficult aspects of meditation, because our minds are the runaway minds. And I honestly find it really hard to concentrate these days, especially with what's going on in the world. I just feel I wake up at night and I'm worried. I know you, Antonia, you are too. And I don't know, when I watch a movie in the evening, that's, let's say I've been watching with my daughter Selma and Malcolm X, just to, educate myself, because I'm a foreigner moving here. So I'm learning a lot. So I just realized that it just definitely makes it harder for me to concentrate. And so on whatever side we are, it's probably not so easy right now. And I noticed that in a few times in my life, that when I had a hard time concentrating, when something was going on in my life, I actually had to work on my concentration. I remember one time was when I had little kids. I started having babies, which now is a long time ago. They're young adults. But when I was already meditating for 13 years, so suddenly um, sleep was gone, wake up 4 times a night, and my whatever rhythm was really disrupted. However, I didn't, I was kind of a very serious meditator, so I didn't want to give it up. So I remember then that I had to really work on concentration just to keep my minimal amount of concentration going. And so I find this time right now again is a time where it's important to sharpen up my ability to concentrate. So I've found in my 40 years of dabbling with this and studying with different teachers, there are different ways of concentrating. There is the one way I learned more in Theravadan monasteries, like Theo and I think we at the same monastery, Black Rock, close to Kandy.
No, I visited, but I wasn't. I was in Gampar.
Yeah, all right. So, but we probably had similar teachings there. And so, which is more like really notice the phenomena as they pass through in body, mind, emotions, as they are arising and passing through or naming them. Which I find just very, very valuable as a way of concentrating. In the last few years, I learned a little bit from some of my Tibetan trained teachers, like Dan Brown or Alan Wallace. Actually, Dan Brown more. And actually, what's happening now these days is that many of the people who are let me let Claudia in. I see it at Spirit Walk, that those people who were trained in Thailand or Burma or Sri Lanka are now, there is kind of a coming together of the different ways of learning, for example, about the mind, about concentration. And so basically there's more like this thing, rather than being completely pure in one school of Buddhist practice, there is more like, what can we learn that's best from all of them? Do you see that, Theo? Is that, do you see it's less of a...
I think, yeah, a little bit. Me personally, I've experienced it. When you realize and you speak to like other schools and they do it a different way, you go, that's so cool. Yeah, that sounds great. Let's try that out.
All right. Yeah, me too. And so maybe it took me about, let's say, maybe 25 to 30 years to loosen up and learn from different schools. But now I am all for it. Not as indiscriminately, but when it actually, it's more like I trust my experience. When I learn something, it's like, oh wow, this is really something I didn't know before. And again, I see more and more teachers being very willing to integrate. So I wanted to teach today a little bit more something I learned from the Tibetan corner, which is, I would say, purely psychological, the Theravadan method, which is learning, anger is arising, falling away, a sadness arising, falling away. It's very useful psychologically speaking. And most of you know I'm a daytime clinical psychologist in private practice. And so I definitely was able to make use of this a great deal, and I'm still able to make use of it, and it's coming more to my daily life. Let's say I'm really aggravated by somebody in the line at the supermarket. I can say, oh, frustration arising. And there it is. I feel it in my chest or in my jaw. And so it's actually really helpful, because it makes me less impulsive and kind of yelling at them or doing something that I might kind of regret later. So what I wanted to talk a little bit today about is this quality of concentration, which is called, more in the Tibetan school, making the mind serviceable through teaching the mind to stay, not getting distracted. And I find that really helpful. It's not that this is the only way of doing it. Actually, what I'm seeing now, for example, at Spirit Walk Meditation Center, they have now something called meditation concentration retreat. And then they have something called awareness retreat. So I think they parcel it up into different retreats. So making the mind serviceable through teaching the mind to stay, not getting distracted, which is actually in Tibetan called shine, creating a mind that learns to stay, that calms down, and when there is less interference or less static, and less conceptualization. So as we kind of heighten our ability to concentrate, there is less static, less interference. And then what happens, you might say, in Tibetan Buddhism, things are very much geared towards waking up. So you might say, why do we want to learn this? Is this just kind of one of those exercises for the sake of exercising, or why are we doing this? And then we in that tradition, and I find this very interesting, we learn to calm down the mind, to teach the mind to stay, because if the conceptual mind calms down, then we realize the original nature of the mind. What is there without interference? Or they call that the mind in its natural state. And maybe a metaphor might be that we are seeing the sky with all its different, let's say, clouds and cloud formations. But then let's say the clouds break open, and behind it is the blue sky. So that is a metaphor that's often used. So the sky, the clear sky, is always there. It's not that it's not there when there are clouds, but we don't see it. And usually there are a lot of clouds, and especially in a time like this, in current times. Just turn the news on, there are a lot of clouds, and there's hail and snow and thunder and all kinds of wild stuff happening there in the sky. So as we learn to see with fine and attuned awareness, we learn to rest in awareness itself. And here it gets maybe a little complicated. So that's maybe why it's good that we talk about it all together in the end. So sometimes I myself make a distinction between awareness as a field aspect or consciousness, and awareing, the process of being aware. But it's kind of interesting because as we are awareing, as we are really learning to be finely aware, there is a shift, and we learn to rest in awareness itself. So it's kind of really interesting. And as I lead you in meditation, I try to give you a little bit of that experience. But I thought today I might just kind of do it the other way around and explain it first. And then maybe as it happens, it makes it a little easier to go with it. So again, concentration quietens the mind. The thinking function of the mind subsides. So the thinking function of the mind subsides. And then what we do is we bring our focus back again, and again. And again, don't worry how many times you do this. You might just do it 30 times or 50 times or 100 times, because that strengthens the ability to come back and stay. And this is an aspect that we know from science. We basically create a new neural pathway. As we learn to come back again and again and again, to refocus on, let's say, the breath or the body or whatever we want to focus on, and let go of the conceptual aspect of thinking, the more we refocus on body or breath or whatever our object is, we are strengthening our ability to come back and stay. And the more times we redirect, it reinforces this capacity to redirect and stay. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So it stay more closely, more continuously, and more fully. And the method we are using for this is called the 3-point breath. We first really feel the sensations in our body. And actually, for that exercise, it's best to feel the whole body, the body as a whole, and less the different aspects of the body. Even though in the beginning, when we just get settled, I sometimes point to the shoulders or the eyes or the forehead or the jaw, but then come to your whole body and then notice how the in-breath arises out of the body and falls back into the body. So it's called the 3-point breath. Whole body, in-breath, out-breath, whole body. And as we are doing this, as we are bringing our ability to be aware to these 3 points, our mind is quite busy with the task, and we are less tempted to go off into the conceptual mind, because that's kind of what always our conceptual, our thinking mind wants to do. It wants to go off in daydreams, in what is for supper, or did I mail the taxes in, or whatever it is. So but that if we are staying in the thinking mind, in the conceptual mind, we are basically staying with the clouds. Maybe it's interesting, or there's this cloud and that cloud and another kind of cloud, but we don't see what's behind the clouds versus the brightness of the sky that's behind it. But that's which we want to experience in this exercise. So one practice, one technique that Dan Brown teaches is then intensifying, to actually learn to look even closer. Let's say, as you are really with the in-breath and you feel the sensation and movement of the in-breath, you learn to look even more closely. So, and you notice even more closely the out-breath and the whole body. And with that, you're becoming even more interested and engaged. And as you do this, there is less of the conceptual mind. And so there is quite a bit of, you might say, a relaxed effort involved in really being with every aspect of the in-breath, every aspect of the out-breath, and the whole body, and then intensifying. And there I wanted to say, as we learn to intensify, we are not tensing up. It's almost like when you kind of clasp your fist, and let it go. And now you're just thinking about clasping your fist, but you're keeping it relaxed. So with full intensity, you're thinking about clasping your fist, but it's actually completely relaxed. So that's what intensifying is. Without getting tense, we just becoming even more focused on the sensations and movements of breath and body. And what happens then, as we look really closely and intensify, that's when the conceptual mind, the discursive mind, calms down. It kind of gives up, okay. It's like a kind of putting a bridle on a horse, it's like, all right, okay, I give in, and so, but you might think that, oh, I can't keep this up, this is too much work. That's why often these kinds of meditations are actually not that long, because if we did this for 45 minutes or an hour, you would just get exhausted. You can't keep it up. But then what we learn is easing up, just a tiny little bit. If we ease up too much, then we have a flooding in of thoughts. So then the movements become very subtle, just a tiny bit of easing up. And what we can notice then, as we ease up after we actually learned to intensify, the breath becomes automatic, and our awareness, our focus becomes automatic, and there is more of a sense of brightness. But often what happens then, we ease up too quickly, and then there's a flooding in of thoughts, and then we kind of intensify again a little bit. But then the movements become very small, very subtle, a little intensifying, a little easing up, a little intensifying, a little easing up. And then what can happen then is kind of a qualitative shift into a more, it's almost like into a flow state, where the breath goes by itself, which is kind of a really wonderful feeling. And I remember it from long retreats, getting into this flow state. I have to ask you later, because I know you did this long retreats. You probably know it too, but often you have to be there for a very, very long time to come into this flow state. And with these, they're called pointing out instructions, you can actually get there quite a bit quicker. You can do it just in your morning meditation, which I always found very interesting, because there was this assumption, especially when I was really into a big 10-day and 4-week retreats. It's like you have to do really, really, really long retreats, morning to night, to get anywhere. And so what I found really interesting in these instructions, and it might take you a few weeks to catch on, so it's actually cool that we have a little smaller group that crystallized itself out here, to come to this place that I remember from long retreats, after a very long time, to come there, a little bit more quickly in maybe in your daily meditations even. And so So when one lets go and eases up a bit, the mind begins to stay automatically and brightens. But then, very often we fall out of this again, and there's another conceptual thought, and then we kind of uh, intensify and focus a little more, and then ease up a little bit again. So there will be a little bit of an in and out of this state. And as we are awareing, we get to know the quality of awareness itself, which is kind of interesting. We are learning as we get into this little bit of flow state. We are learning, okay, it's like this feeling. Oh, we kind of get to tiny little bit, maybe not today, maybe next time or the time after, a sense. It's actually a sensation experience of the field aspect of awareness. And in this automatic awareness of breath, there is a bit more luminosity, ease, effortless concentration, and a wider perspective. And as if you would want to extrapolate this out uh, and go on with those practices, these are just the very preliminary practices in this kind of school, then we learn to actually, not tonight and not probably here with me for a while, we come to this place where we can experience our world from this place of awareness itself, from this wider perspective. And actually what I wrote down here is, because it's our course on cultivating emotional balance, what are the health benefits of this exercise? So the capacity to show up and be more focused in life, that's definitely there. And then meta awareness with one T, not with two T's, to get to know oneself better and our state of mind. And actually, one of my quite strict teachers, he says, so how many percent did you stay? 30, 50, or 60%? I won't do that with you, but he's quite a strict teacher. And as we rest in this field of awareness, when we get a little glimpse of this, which may not be today, but eventually it will be there, and we rest in this place of effortless clarity and alert relaxation, there is a sense of natural friendliness or love. It's like the sky that's behind the clouds is actually quite peaceful. And there is this sense of, the Dalai Lama calls it benevolence. He calls it the field of benevolence. When you're in this stage, you really don't want to harm anybody, just naturally. You're just not in the mood. It's kind of quite interesting. And then there's also this sense of interconnectedness, which is the opposite of separateness. Things just don't feel separate anymore. And I was just thinking, in a way, if we can meet our world from this different place. I was just wanting to speak with John Lennon. Imagine, it would be quite cool, wouldn't it? No? Imagine all politicians doing this kind of practice and getting quite adept at it. They wouldn't want to, us versus them anymore. Um, our newspapers wouldn't have much to say. So I was just wondering, before we start with meditation, if there are questions, or shall we just go into the meditation? Let me just ask first if anybody has a question. All right, let's do a meditation. And I thought then, as our second meditation, I do this meditation which I might have done with you before, is the Tonglen, imagining the heart as a sun. I might have done this with you before. I just find it very useful these days. It's like in these very kind of painful days. I find it, it's like for me, when I listen to the news, it's kind of heartbreak. However I see it, from ever side I see it, heartbreak. It's like, oh, too much dukkha, like what they say, suffering. Mm, whether it's COVID or other differences, it's a heartbreak. And I think meeting that with the sense of interconnectedness and love is it's a really good thing. All right, make yourself comfortable. Let yourself settle into the sensations in your body. Notice the touch between your body and the chair, the ground. And let your whole body be filled with presence. And notice your face relaxing, your jaw letting go. Your shoulders softening. Heart relaxing and opening. Belly. Then let yourself feel your whole body. The felt sense, the feeling sense of your whole body. Your body as a whole. And feel the felt sense of the totality of your body. Be fully aware what your body feels like. As if you fill out all the boundaries of your body with distinct awareness. Then notice from your body, from the whole of your body arising, the sensation and movement of your inhale, the sensation and movement of your exhale. Falling back into the wholeness of your body. Breath arising with the in-breath, letting go with the out-breath. Falling back into the body for the next breath, brushing in naturally. Feeling the felt sense of your whole body, your body as a whole. Breath arising with the in-breath, letting go with the out-breath. Feeling your body as a whole. Whenever your mind wanders, your thinking mind comes up, bring your focus back to breath and body, like a steering wheel. Feeling every moment of the in-breath, every moment of the out-breath, wholeness of your body, breath breathing back in. And redirecting your focus again and again and again. Again, feel the wholeness of your body and look even a little bit more closely. Intensify the sense, the felt sense of your whole body. Without being tense. Feeling your whole body more intensely. Feeling the in-breath more intensely. And the out-breath more intensely. And your whole body. Whole body. Felt sense of the in-breath. Felt sense of the out-breath. Whole body again. And looking even more closely. Every second of the in-breath. Every second of the out-breath. Body as a whole. Feeling your breath again. Redirecting your focus again and again to body and breath. Making every second of in-breath and out-breath and body feel alive, engaged, staying, calm. Slowly you might feel your mind, your conceptual thinking mind calming. Just a little bit. One more time, intensifying. In breath, out breath, body, in breath. Let your focus ease up just a little bit. There might be more brightness, more ease. And if thoughts rush in, intensify again a little bit. Every second of the in-breath, every second of the out-breath. Body as a whole. Breath brushing in. Staying. Easing up a bit. More brightness. Maybe a bit of ease. Breath breathing you. Surrendering to the natural rhythm of breath. Thoughts rush in, intensifying. Easing. Feeling the flow of awareness itself. And some of you might feel this flow of awareness. A bit more ease. Quietness. Spaciousness. Focus. If there's a discursive mind ramping up, intensifying, looking more closely, and easing up again. Surrendering to the spacious mind itself. maybe, hi Peggy. Let's just wiggle our body for a moment and let's come to the second meditation. And again, let yourself settle into the sensations in your body. Let the whole body be filled with presence. Sensing your body as a whole. Breath flowing through ever so gently. Arising with the in-breath, letting go with the out-breath. Whole body, breath breathing you. As you feel your body as a whole, bring your attention to the center of your chest where your heart is. And imagine at the center of your chest a sun, a bright, luminous, warm sun at the center of your chest, like a bright star. A bright, warm, compassionate star. With each breath brushing through, feel that star becoming even brighter. That sun becoming more brilliant, luminous, warm. Like fanning it with your breath. Let it be really strong, and bright. At the center of your chest where your heart is. Then in your mind's eye, you might feel your own worry, your own sorrow. May it be about your own life or about the world, your country, whatever it is. COVID. And with the inhale, breathe in that worry, that sorrow that you carry. And as soon as it hits the center of your chest, your heart, allow it to be transformed by this brilliant light. Allow it to be transformed by this brilliant light. Let it go with the exhale. Inhale that worry and again let it be transformed right at the center of your chest where this bright star is. And exhale, caring, compassion for yourself. Compassion for yourself who's carrying this. Inhale, worry, allow it to be transformed of the center of your chest. Exhale with compassion, with understanding, with caring. And again, feel the center of your chest, the sun at the center of your chest, breath brushing through. And breath making it even more bright. Even more brilliant. Even more warm like the sun. And then take in the worry, the sorrow of somebody close to you. Somebody you know who may be affected by what is going on in this world right now. And as you breathe in this worry, as soon as it hits the center of your chest where the sun is, it instantly transforms. And breathe out caring, love, compassion. Inhale this worry of this other person. Allow it to be transformed at the center of your chest instantly by this brilliant sun. Breathe out warmth, understanding, gentleness. Feel this deeply. Feel the breath brushing through. And with each breath, brightening the star, the sun at the center of your chest. With each breath, let become more brilliant, more bright, more warm. And feel that suffering of this world, wherever it is. And breathe in with the inhale. Let it instantly transform by the sun at the center of your chest. And exhale with warmth and compassion. Inhale the sorrows and instantly allow it to transform by this bright star at the center of your chest. And breathe out warmth and compassion. Again, feel the star, the sun at the center of your chest. And allow breath to fan the flames of this bright, brilliant, warm, caring star. Sun. And imagine that all of us have suns at the center of our chests. All of us here. And that our suns at the centers of our chest are connected with all other suns everywhere. All other stars. Like Indra's nest. And fan all the suns with the power of your breath. All these interconnected jewels of stars and suns. And with the inhale, take in the worry, the darkness, the fear. And let it instantly transforming at the center of your chest and all our chests. All our suns. Breathe out caring, compassion, benevolence. And breathe with all these suns, all these stars. Let everything transform into caring and compassion. To allow breath to breathe you. May the benefits of this meditation go out into the world and beyond. And may we all be happy. May we all be healthy. And may we all be free. And may we become what we need to become to allow this to happen. So I was wondering, maybe if let me see, how do I do this? Unmute you. Oops. Unmuted. All right. I was wondering who might have a question. Here's one question in the chat box. No, not really a question. Just wondering if there's any way to make this clearer, if there were comments, or how was that experience? Yeah.
I think I'm getting to like meditation more because like I don't know, it's just like I'm not I didn't fall asleep, but I feel like I'm more energized after the meditation, and then I have a clear head after the meditation too, and then it's just feel more alive.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anybody else?
That was just very calming. Thank you, Radhule.
Thank you, Paulina. And thanks for helping to admit people.
Sure.
As Pauline said, very soothing. Feel much less, I feel more relaxed. I had too much anxiety before a busy day, so it really helped. Thank you.
Thank you. So, anybody else having any comments or questions? I was just wondering how many of you felt that your concentration got a little better in the first meditation.
I certainly felt. Oh, no, sorry.
Maybe Antonia?
I thought I could concentrate a lot better. The only thing was that it was a little hard to experience the whole body. I kind of kept doing the trunk or something. And I wondered if you had any thoughts on that.
Yeah, I had to catch on with that first, because I was so used with the body scan to go into the different body parts that it was first a little shift of gears for me to feel the whole body. But once I got it, and you might just try it tonight in bed, why not practice there a little bit? It's kind of a really great feeling, to feel the whole body as a whole. It's just a slightly different practice, so you might just try that. Theo?
Yeah, I thought in the beginning I found the concentrating, focusing, drawing in that focus, that really worked. And then the loosening up really made all the thoughts come in, and then I focused and they went away, and then I loosened up and they came in. But then near the very end, there was like a little bit of a balance point there. And that was really rewarding in that way. And you could really it kind of worked, but you had to go back and forth, and it was a bit energy consuming when I was really focusing. It was hard for it not to be like, I'm exhausted, so can I just relax? But it was really rewarding in the end. So.
Yeah. It's a little bit different, yeah. But then this place, the sweet spot between concentrating and easing can become a launching point into a flow state. Yeah. So it's a little different. We don't have to do it every time this way, but it's actually a very cool thing to learn. in some ways it really kind of, you know, I'm doing this meditation business so long, 40 years. It's 1980. So you know, one can become a little bit complacent. You know, it's like driving the car. We don't even know where we are driving and who's driving and whatever, you know. So then it's kind of like, oh, okay. So it gives it a little bit different angle. Yeah. And I was wondering, maybe I'll ask how many of you had long experiences in monasteries or so? You, Theo, no? You did. Did you have this experience in the end of, let's say, 10-day or 4-week retreats that you came into this kind of flow state?
Yeah, for sure. There's but my teacher used to be he used to not like it that much because he would think people would just come for the nice feelings. So he would always be like, oh no, you don't start liking it. You can't just enjoy it.
Yeah, I know that's right. And there is a bit of a danger that one could use it as an escape.
Yeah, that was.
But what Dan Brown, this teacher of mine, taught me is to actually harness the sense of resting in awareness and bring it then back into life. So to not use it as in tubes going off, and also to make sure that one is really alert doing it. So it's not trancing out. So it's being actually really concentrated and alert doing it. So it's just, I find it just so helpful as I'm getting a little bit the hang of it to have it be like a different, you know, perspective to be with life. Yeah. More questions, or that's it? Well, I see you very soon again. Next week will be Harrison, but then I'll be back.
Thank you, Radhule.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Radhule.
Thank
Hi,
you, Radhule.
Peggy.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Leslie, Christina, Claudia, and Rodney.
Thank you. Namaste.
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 Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Night.
Hi, Radhule.
Bye. Thank you, Paulina. Thanks
You're
for
welcome.
having me.